Model ASEAN meeting is a simulation of the ASEAN session in which students will take a role as a delegate of countries of ASEAN member states. The Pertamina University has established this Model ASEAN meeting since 2016. MAM UP was held offline until 2019. But during COVID-19 in 2020, we were making this event online to decrease the number of COVID-19. So, in 2021, Pertamina University presents another online MAM UP, which has been set more exciting than ever. Of course, it will be different from the previous year.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good evening, everyone. It's honor to see you again. Welcome to ASEAN Preparation Class. And me, Gina, as your Master of Ceremony, will guide you in this agenda. First of all, let's thank to God for His mercy so we can gather in this event. And now, we will move to the main session. In this session, we will listen to the material from Ms. Ki Pyu-sin Ki. First, let me introduce you to our speaker today. Miss Kee Fiew Hin Kee is someone who was born and live in Myanmar. She is an active person who socializes with many people because of her open and flexible mind. She is a civil engineering graduate Technology University Tonggo who has a lot of experience. She has served as co-founder and secretary at the English Public Speaking Club and worked at the Student Union. After graduating, she has a lot of experience, such as working as field qualitative research consultant for youth job market and skill research study at the ASEAN Foundation, and also a co-founder and head of external affairs and representative of Myanmar at Digitech ASEAN, and also a senior associate in Myanmar Youth Empowerment Opportunities. And there's a lot of more about Ms. Kee Pyun-Sien Kee. She also has international exchange experience, such as being a delegate at ASEAN University Student Union Council, a delegate at YSEALI Regional Workshop on Good Governance and Civil Society, a delegate at the 5th ASEAN Foundation Model ASEAN Meeting Myanmar or AFMAM, and many more experience. She has many skills and fluent in 3 languages, namely Burmese, English, and Korean. She is also a frequent speaker at various panels, trainings, and selected talk shows, and has acquired numbers of awards such as the ASEAN Social Enterprise Development Program 2021 and YSEALI Government Seats Winner 2021. What an amazing opportunity to be with Miss to be with you today, Miss. Hello, are you connected with us?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, Miss. How are you today?
Yes, I'm doing all right. And thank you for having me here and reading it out for me as well. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're very welcome. We're glad to have you in here. And are you ready to share with insight with our beloved participant today?
Yes, definitely. I want it to be an interactive session. So can I ask some questions and the participants can answer? Or is it okay for me to just present on my own?
Oh, it's okay. We will have the question and answer session in the last session when you're done with your presentation.
Okay, thank you then. All right.
So without wasting any time, let's begin the agenda. Time and screen is yours, Miss.
Yes, I'll start share the screen. Um, can you all see my screen?
Yes, it was clear.
Okay. Okay, so today I'll be talking about the importance of ASEAN meeting model simulation. So yeah, I'll include, and I heard that a lot of you are high school students, so most of you must not have experiences in model ASEAN meeting and might think this is a really new thing. So yeah, I'll talk to you about how important it is and how what are the protocols, what are the rules for it, and maybe a little brief on it. Okay, so what is ASEAN? So, okay, of course, you all are here. You guys know what is ASEAN, right? So I'm not going to repeat that and going to say, but yes, ASEAN is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and it's founded on 8th August 1967. So yeah, the first founding members are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. This is all as you know, right? And then it later expanded onto Brunei, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. So the observers are still in it, but they are still just observing. So they are not completely ASEAN yet, but they are being observed. So some people quite still get mistaken with that, though. So that is why I added here. So right now, ASEAN is just 10 countries with these 2 observers at Papua New Guinea and Timor-Leste. So yeah, and as all of you know, the ASEAN headquarters is located in Jakarta, Indonesia, where you all are. here now. So why I am talking about ASEAN before talking about model ASEAN simulation is that we need to know why we are doing this, right? We need to know what ASEAN is for. So this is why model ASEAN simulation is made. But whenever we, so in ASEAN, like there are three pillars, and there's ASEAN Economic Community. Some of you already have renamed yourself, and they are like, okay, so under this economic community, there are economic ministers, finance ministers, agriculture, tourism, and so on. And in the socio-cultural community, so it includes the education, information, media, culture, environment, social welfare. And in the political security, so there will be foreign minister, defense, law, transnational, and these things. So this is how ASEAN is built on, with these three pillars: economic, AEC, ASEC, and APIC. So we need to be clear of which three pillars that we have. And sometimes, like, even when I started doing, like, I didn't even know how many pillars are there in ASEAN as well. That is my first experience before becoming all this familiar to model ASEAN meetings and everything. So, we all need to know the basics before starting anything. So yeah, and just like I just mentioned right now, do you think does everyone in ASEAN know what is ASEAN? What do you guys think? Like, do you guys think that everyone in ASEAN know what is ASEAN? So, yeah. So, like when I asked this question, like, and also like back 3 years ago when I was involved in any ASEAN program, I was just a university student in my fresh undergraduate, like freshman year. And I did not know what really is ASEAN. So when I was going to ask, when someone was going to ask, we have to take a test. And then like there were examinations on asking like how many countries are there ASEAN. So I had to go to Google and study like, how many countries, and I keep forgetting the name. So, that happened to me, even to me like years ago. So like, even right now, like when we ask someone in our inner circle asking like what is ASEAN, they would be like, oh, there are 10 countries in ASEAN, isn't Korea a part of ASEAN? They are still mistaken as that. And maybe some people say like, how does being an ASEAN member really help? I don't really know. Is it really being an ASEAN region, does this really help this? And then ASEAN, I thought it's pronounced as Asian, or so, some people even don't know sometimes like what is the difference between an ASEAN and Asian. This is like not their fault, but because this is we as an ASEAN region still lack awareness on regional awareness. That means our ASEAN regional building is not very strong enough, not just in the internal members, but even if we go to other countries, some people still mistaken as ASEAN and Asian. So, like China, Korea, they think that that is also a part of ASEAN and Asian. So that's like, the difference between these two are not really clear enough. So I guess that, you will be getting my point why I'm saying here. So the regional awareness, even though ASEAN has been found like 1967, which is like way long or founded before us. We were even not born yet, right? But still, even the elders, the adults, the youths, and even in my community still lack awareness of ASEAN. This is not their fault, or this is not anyone's fault, but still because our activities, our cohesiveness, our regional collaboration is not very strong enough. So sometimes we still don't know. So that is why Model ASEAN meeting is also one of the reasons why Model ASEAN meeting is built. So it's to improve better regional understanding and promoting cohesiveness among youths of ASEAN region, because youths are the future leaders. You are the future leaders of the region. And if we only start when we can build awareness of ASEAN right now, then the later generations will not be needing to be acknowledged about, okay, hey, this is ASEAN. Then they will be just knowing, oh yeah, there are 10 countries in ASEAN. They will automatically know, So that is why right now this Model ASEAN meeting, that's one of the main reasons that Model ASEAN meeting is created. So yeah, so what is it? As just as it's mentioned in the video that it was playing before, it's a academic simulation meeting for ASEAN organizations. So participants play the role of diplomats. So once you're in here, you are all minister, senior official. So you are all playing as the role of diplomat from these 10 ASEAN member states. And we attempt to solve the real world issues. Even though we're role playing here, the issues that we are trying to discuss and solve are the real world. So we use the policies and also assigned countries using the ASEAN way. So yeah, the objectives of the Model ASEAN meeting is that the final outcome, we will have the head of governments adopt a concerted document that addresses after discussing each three pillars based on the ASEAN way, then we will be having a final outcome on each theme. Okay, so this year your theme is on recovery on ASEAN COVID-19, right? So the in this Model ASEAN meeting, we will be discussing each pillar, will be discussing on how we can be building a better, how we can have better recovery from COVID-19 as an ASEAN region as a whole. So we'll be discussing on this. But of course, in the real ASEAN meeting process is a long way. It doesn't just discuss on one issue, but here in Model ASEAN meeting, we are going under one theme more. And then under these themes, we will have various issues to discuss according to each pillar. So yeah, this Model ASEAN, and like I mentioned just now, the Model ASEAN meeting aims to provide participants a better understanding and appreciation of the decision-making process. Yes, so this is the objectives of Model ASEAN meeting, and that is why you are all here too. I assume that maybe we are just coming here. Like at first, when I become a start to join the Model ASEAN meeting, I did not know anything at all. I was so clueless. Like I did not understand what is the pillar, how does ASEAN way work, what is the meeting, like all these things are strange for me because I, as mentioned in the biography as well, I come from a civil engineering background. So all these international relations, everything was like very unfamiliar to me. And it was hard for me, I thought, but when you start to understand the Model ASEAN meeting, and once you do it, it's not so scary anymore. So trust me. Yeah. So the Model ASEAN structure it's structured like this. So there are at the green ones, you can see the sectoral senior official meetings. Then after that, we go to the ministerial level. So that is under each pillar. So here, these three, we first go these three. And then after these three, there's the ASEAN Coordinating Council. And then there's the ASEAN Summit. So Model ASEAN meeting only most of the actions are done here, but the other national secretariat, relevant senior officials, these are more done in the like other meetings. So right now, so this is how like this. But if you want it to be looked to a similar way, then it will a shortcut way. So first of all, we will have the opening ceremony, ASEAN Summit, and then we have the sectoral meetings and then the ministerial meeting. Then after that, we go to the coordinating council meetings, and at the end, we end it and we close it with the closing ceremony. So this is how the Model ASEAN meeting is structured. So yeah, up to this moment, are you guys okay with following up? Okay, yes, I think you guys are all okay. I think so. Yeah. Okay. So the Model ASEAN meeting. So I want to talk about the main thing about Model ASEAN meeting is the consensus, not just Model ASEAN meeting, ASEAN as a whole is consensus. So, we will have the final outcome like that addresses on the issue, the chairman's statement in the ASEAN way. But one thing about consensus is like, unlike the UN or either, like it's not equal to unanimous agreement. So what it means is that everyone has to agree to have this decision on the chairman's statement. So, okay, for example, I'm here and another person is, okay, there are 9 other ASEAN countries, and then we want to discuss, and if all of us are not agreed yet, then it's not solved yet. We cannot go on to the next step. So that is why even if 8 people out of 10 countries, 10 people agree on this statement, if one people is still saying no, then we cannot move on. That is why these Model ASEAN meetings and all the ASEAN meetings can pretty much take long, because we have to negotiate until everyone is on board. So we have to remember that consensus is not equal to unanimous agreement. And if no one is, and another thing to remember about consensus is that when we are just staying in the meeting and then like we don't say anything and it's silence, like if you say agree or not agree, if you do not agree, you have to show some signals. But if you do not say anything, it means that you agree as well. So silence equal to consensus. But if someone says no, then it means it's not consensus. And yeah, so that's the thing about consensus. So you always have to keep in mind when you do the Model ASEAN meeting that even if 9 of you are saying yes, you cannot say one, you cannot go and force one to immediately just say yes and you just say, put it on the chairman's statement. The meetings do not work that way, but you have to make sure everyone is on board with this decision, what you put on the chairman's statement, unless you cannot move on to the next step. So that is about the consensus. Okay. So another one is that, so let's talk about when we look about the Model ASEAN meeting, like before the meeting. So before the meeting, what we have to do is that position papers by each country. Like, so if you're representing Indonesia, if you're representing Cambodia, you have to write your position paper according to this theme. Then you will have to submit it. And then all of the submitted papers will be compiled into a draft statement, a draft chairman statement for each pillar. So, for example, Cambodia submitted their problems like AEC, APSC, everything in one paper, and then they submitted that. And another we submitted, and then from the all countries of this like ASEAN economic pillar, ASEAN political, the APSC, and then ASCC. So they divide it into, and then like the ASEAN Secretariat is responsible for compiling it to it, and then they distribute it to all ASEAN member states. And in the meeting, we discussed those drafts. So what we discussed in the meeting is the draft statement that is prepared by the ASEAN Secretariat. But these all came from the position papers that each of the countries submitted. So that is before what the meeting is due. So before the meeting, these two things are done. Then we will get into the meeting part. So the meeting procedure, there will be the greetings by ASEAN chair. So first of all, there will be the ASEAN chair. So this year, the ASEAN chair is Brunei. So Brunei will be chairing, and the chair will be mostly leading the meeting. So, asking like, facilitating what country have to say and welcome. And they have to, he or she has to invite all ASEAN member states for their resources. So there is, for the speaking order, it's not alphabetically, even though there's the seating order. I actually wanted to add about the seating order and the flag arrangements, but since this is an online virtual, I just added the resource at the end, so you can just check it out. But I'm not adding it in here because we're doing virtual, so you don't need to think about which Zoom box will go to which next or which Zoom flag will be ordered like this. So no need for that. So I'm not, but in offline program, that is really important as well, because the position of flag, the seating arrangement, all these are important because you're seating, and if it's wrong, then it's not very okay. But in virtual setting, it's flexible, so you don't need to worry about that. You just need to worry about the content. So for the speaking order, there's no speaking order. If someone wants to just talk, you can just raise your hand. But here in virtual, you can just raise your hand and then you can speak it out. And if the chair allows you to speak, then you can continue to speak. And when you are doing the meeting, most of us, we're meeting like we're going segment by segment. So we amend it. So, we have to, when we want to say that we want to fix this part, we have to say exact part. We want to fix this exact location and what wording. We, even if we want to add D or A, we have to be very exact about it. And we have to be like, yeah, add here, remove this word and replace it with this word. So, but if you want to add a very long paragraph or a long sentence, you don't just say out aloud for a long time. You just type it in the Zoom chat. So the ASEAN Secretariat, ASEC, will be able to note it down and then put it in the draft statement. So that will be easier, because in Zoom, the connection problems and everything can be there. So when you want to amend, if it's just short, you can say it in mouth. But if it's just long or if it's a medium, you should just type it in the Zoom chat and pass it to the ASEAN Secretariat. So that is the amendment part. And after that, if we say that if we edit one country edit one amendment also, for example, Cambodia would like to report something, or Laos want, but if some country rejects this amendment, then amendment failed, because remember, this goes on consultation and consensus. So if if only one country says no to it, the amendment is not added. So that's why sometimes like we might think that, okay, it takes so long. But at the same time, it's also one way to have everyone on board, to ensure that everyone is going in the same way, everyone is on the same board. So that is how decision making in ASEAN meetings are done. Yeah. Okay, so that is the meeting procedure. So are you guys all okay up to this moment? Or because actually these trainings have to be conducted for a longer time, but I'm trying to summarize it very shortly. So maybe it might be a little bit, you might be thinking a little bit, okay, but I hope that you guys are still doing okay. Okay, so that was for the meeting procedure as a whole. And for the chair, like I mentioned, the one who is facilitating it, the chair has more of like in a model ASEAN meeting, it has more of a dual role, because you have to facilitate and ask other to talk, and at the same time you have to represent the country. So in this year, but in this model ASEAN meeting, I'm not sure, is it the same as the same chair? So so the Brunei will be chairing, so you have to represent your own country, but at the same time you also have to be the facilitator for other countries. So you have to ask, okay, the country of, okay, Myanmar, you can speak. Okay, Indonesia, Republic of Indonesia, you can speak. Or Malaysia, you can, you can speak. There's something like that. So the chair has a dual meeting. So the chair can give permission. The chair can do so much. The chair controls the meeting to finish in the allotted time, and also tries to facilitate. So the chair role is really important in Model ASEAN meeting, and it's more heavy responsibility than the normal delegate, because you have to represent your country and represent the country that you are located in. And at the same time, you also have to do these, like, okay, for example, retreat, mediation, suspension, and escalation, all these. So you have to do all these as well. Okay, so now I have mentioned about like the process of Model ASEAN meeting. Can everyone see the screen properly? Can? Okay.
Yes, sir. I can.
Yes, we
see your
can.
screen.
Yeah, everyone is still okay? Or are you guys sleepy already? Oh my God, what is she talking? She's so talking nonstop. But I'm trying to finish everything here. So yeah, you can ask me anything later on. So yeah, the educational process is how, I just mentioned like before, during the meeting, and the chair rules. So now you can think about it. Okay, so first of all, before the meeting, you have to do research and preparation. So there will be the drafting of position papers, drafting of stuff, and you have to prepare for speeches. And another one is that speeches, because when the opening ceremony starts, the head of government will have to be talking to represent the country. So you have to prepare the head of government speech during ASEAN Summit opening ceremony. So you have to talk about into 3 minutes, or maybe at most 5 minutes a speech. 3 minutes is a moderate amount. Then you can talk like the brief situation of Brunei, look forward to, or maybe Laos, look forward to Laos situation in COVID-19 is this, and look forward to have a fruitful discussion, something like that, the speech like this. And in other words, during the meeting, there's the negotiation part. So there's all the meetings you have to negotiate. You have to talk, you have to negotiate. Even if you say, I don't like debate, I don't like talking, but you have to do this during the Model ASEAN meeting. You have to try to negotiate with the other people to get your opinion on board as well. And another one is the resolution. So, and at the end, the action is at the ASEAN Summit. At the end, there will be the statement. So that's the final action. Then you will get the whole consensus, everyone agreed statement. So I want to highlight the skills that we will get from this process of the highlighted skills that I want to get. First of all, in the research and preparation, you get the researching skill. That is very useful because as high school students, we still have very few experience on research, and we still think that research is a heavy topic. It's very hard, but it's an internet age and it's 21st century. So, everything is easily accessible, and you can have more, you don't need to go to run to libraries and look for books and like, okay, to note it down. No, you don't need to do this. You can just go to Google. You can just try to find, but still it requires some skills. So you need to be more, it will prepare and improve your research skills. And another one is that your public speaking skills will be improved as well. Before, when I was in my first year of university, I went onto the stage, and this was before joining Model ASEAN. I was so scared to be in front of the people, and like I just totally froze for a while before speaking. So that was before MAM. But after doing MAM, after doing joining international programs as well, my public speaking improved, and right now I am able to speak in front of hundreds, thousands, and I can still deliver trainings. Yeah, of course we still are nervous, but still your skills have really improved. And another one is that negotiation. So your negotiation skills will be improved as well. Why negotiation is important? Because everywhere, if you're talking with people, you have to negotiate. At home, you have to negotiate with mom. Mom, I want this because this is good. I need a new laptop. Why? You need to negotiate with your mom. That's in your family. And when you enter into work as well, if you're doing in a sales, or if you're doing in a you have to negotiate with the clients or customers. That is for the later part. So all these experiences that you get here is applicable in the real world, not just for ASEAN related, but also for your personal. So that's what I want to highlight. And another one is that when we are discussing during to get this chairman statement, we make sure that is this statement that we want, we analyze sentence by sentence, and then like we decide, okay, this is good. So you have to make decisions in there, without anybody guidance, and no teacher is coming to guide you, make this decision. You have to decide on your own. So your critical thinking skills, your analysis skills, these are also improved as well. And another one is that, of course, all these throughout, you understand diplomacy and you understand the ASEAN process, the ASEAN way, how diplomatics work. So if you want to something, you don't just go fight, but how you can negotiate among each country to diplomatically to get the result that you aim to want. So these are the skills that I want to highlight during the Model ASEAN meeting. Each step, every step you're doing in a Model ASEAN meeting, it gives you a skill. It enables give to a skill that you will be having, and it's applicable in your studies, in your work, in your even personal life or professional life. So that's the educational process. Okay, so these are maybe you can take the screenshot of it, anything, that these are some useful usages that can be used in the Model ASEAN meeting. If you're using Indonesian language on the whole meeting, then that's no problem. But if you're going for the, but if you're like, using formal word, these words can also be very useful in using Model ASEAN meeting. So yeah. So that's it. And then, and the key takeaways. So the key takeaways from Model ASEAN meeting, for me, I got a wide network of both local and international friends from these programs. And, I just, like I mentioned, I had better public speaking skills, negotiation, all these skills. And I got an in-depth knowledge about our region and sense of belonging to ASEAN. And of course, I understood about the importance of consensus, making sure everyone is on board, how ASEAN is working as well. So, when someone doesn't understand about ASEAN, I can tell them how ASEAN is working. I can continue to promote the ASEAN awareness as well. So these are the key takeaways that from my experiences of Model ASEAN meeting. So for my personal Model ASEAN meeting. So first of all, I became a delegate in the 5th AFMOM, the ASEAN Foundation Model ASEAN meeting in 2019. And then after that, I became a certified Model ASEAN meeting because I didn't want to just stop being a delegate, but I wanted to give these skills to the youth, to the youth that did not have the opportunity to attend the FMOM program. So I became a certified trainer at Model ASEAN meeting. And then back in 2020, we organized the Model ASEAN meeting Myanmar, which like the ASEAN Foundation, our Ministry of Government, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they all endorsed and supported officially. So it was the first ever national youth diplomacy program. And yeah, I also joined in the 6th FMAM as a chair. So yeah, as a chair. And right now I am training lots of youths like yourself in different countries for ASEAN model meetings and even ASEAN sharing experiences. So it never ends. Once you joined it, even if you're not continue to be a trainer or you still use all these skills, because the team that I met in 5th FMAM, I am still in communicate. In 2019, I'm working with them, and in the country, we have even organized and founded a youth organization together, because before the program we did not know. That's why I say even in Indonesia or even just local network that you get from these program is very valuable, because the people you never know when someone is going to be like you, and if you're like-minded and you find this cause that you want to work together with everyone. So all these network that you get during this program is very precious as well. So I want you to remember that. Yep. So yeah, this is the highlight of what we did in Myanmar back in 2020. So this was also like before, once COVID broke out, like the ASEAN Foundation also said that this was the only physical event that they could come and attend to Myanmar. But after that, everything became virtual. So we were very lucky to conduct it offline. Then after that, but right now I hope that we see we are being hopeful that offline events will be able to be conducted again. So yeah, this is my personal experience sharing while talking about this Model ASEAN meeting as well. So yeah, so up to this, do you guys, I hope that you guys are thinking and maybe trying to ask some questions, or maybe not, but yeah, the time is also a little bit closing up, so I will continue on to it's already at the end, but maybe I can talk about the other speakers will be also be covering. So I'm not going to talk about that much, but because we are as an ASEAN, I want you to think that I'm not going to give you information here, but I want to give you try to, because Model ASEAN meeting is more than someone training yourself. You have to train by yourself. You have to train to know about these countries. You have to research on your own. So, okay. So right now, as you know, as of 9th December 2021, according to this research, so Indonesia is the top in having the most COVID cases, while Brunei is, but of course, that is no surprise because Indonesia is a very large country with so many islands, beautiful islands, and so many diverse cities. And Brunei, yes, Brunei has the least. So that is also because the population can be, compared to the size, but yeah, of course. So that is how the COVID cases are here. So think of it, when looking at this just by this chart, you see there's a diversity, not just in the countries, but even in COVID-19 cases, there's differences in each country. So how you have to start thinking right now when I tell you this, talk about this graph, like, okay, if I am the leader of my country, if I am the minister of the country, how will I tackle together and collaborate together with other ASEAN countries to make the COVID cases reduce, to be able to take more effective solution? You have to start thinking about it, because this Model ASEAN meeting, I cannot come and give you like, okay, think this, make this decision. This is something that you should do. No, it is not something, because it comes from within. You have to find the answers and the decisions from within. If I'm a citizen, I will think that, okay, I need to do this. So you have to think from a citizen side and as a leader side, how many funding will you need, something like that. You have to start thinking. So yeah, these are what the ASEAN has actually established. You can also find it on Google as well, and so there are actions that taken by ASEAN to form these. They have the communication center, risk and assessment and risk communication center. They also did ASEAN bio diaspora virtual center. So they analyze the data, they visualize. So it really helps when someone wants to know data about ASEAN, because for me, where I come from, Myanmar, like it's very hard to find data and statistics. So you might, so as a leader, as a future leader of the country, and as a citizen, you might think, okay, what difficulties do I have during this COVID-19? What do I need? For example, in Myanmar, since COVID-19 happened in 2020, all the universities are paused. So no online classes at all. So you have to think oh, okay, then if you're representing Myanmar, you have to think all the educational system in Myanmar have been paused since 2020. So how long it has been? It's almost 2 years already. No online classes. This is because due to lack of digital literacy. So like they don't even do online classes, like everything, so that is just one example of Myanmar, but there are of course so many case studies in other countries as well. So you might need to research that, how the background of this country. Okay, so if I am a citizen in that country, because here you might be representing your own country or you might be representing another ASEAN member state, but when you're representing another ASEAN member state, you have to think like that country and not Indonesia. Okay, if you're representing Philippines but you're Indonesian, you need to think that you're a Filipino. You are a Filipino for during this model. You have to think about, okay, think about it in the think about it in Filipino. Well, okay, if I'm a Filipino, then what will I want to do? What will I need to do? Maybe, okay, there might be some disagreements among the ASEAN member states, but how can I do this? You have to start thinking. So that is where you apply your critical thinking and everything else. So yeah, there are some useful resources, and I can send it to the organizers later with a longer list. So these will be useful, and the Model ASEAN Meeting Guidebook and everything. So yeah, this comes to the end of my presentation, and even though it's just a very short time due to a time limit, you can all contact me on email or Instagram or Facebook if you want to know more about the situation. If you're representing Myanmar, of course I can give you more information on Myanmar because I'm living in Myanmar, right? So I can give you information about it, but if you want other countries, I also have a network of other friends. So you can just approach me, and you can message me or feel free to email me if you need any more other information. And yes, I hope that this was insightful to you and it was helpful to you a bit somehow. And thank you for attending. Thank you. Terima kasih.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss, for your presentation. It was very helpful, clearly, and also very insightful. And now it's time for Is Anyone to Ask? If any participants want to ask, please use the chat feature with the format institution_name, and you can just type in your answer. And I'm pretty sure Miss Kim Busian Ki was gonna answer your questions. So anyone? I will wait for 2 minutes for anyone who have a question. If not, then I have a personal questions actually, and I hope it represent anyone who cannot think of questions because maybe you're too scared or too afraid to talk to Miss Kim Hyun Ki. Oh yes, actually.
Oh, someone's raising hand.
Yes, you can also use the raise hand feature. Thank you, committee. Okay, I see Kadek Dia. You can go for your questions now.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So I try to open my camera first. Hello, Mrs. Kim Pyu Sinki. How I call your name?
Yes, it's okay. You can just call me
Mrs. Kim.
K for short as well. Yeah.
Okay, I think Kadek is having trouble with her network. Are you connected?
Which device?
Hello, Kadek?
Yes. Can you hear my voice now?
Okay, it was clear.
I guess because the network is a little bad, I try to ask my questions without on my camera. All right. Here I'm a secretary of the meeting as a head of academic division, of course. Here I'm very delighted and also glad to hear all of your presentations, and I can see all of your materials is just more valuable, and it's just like explain all the materials in my guidebook and also my study guide, which I spread to all of our delegate today. I see that all of the delegate is a little tired because we have hard and so much agenda start from the 7 a.m. Jakarta time. It's I will give my questions. I still staring from your presentations. This so very insightful. All right, the questions is my first questions. How can be the best delegate, or how can delegate adopted all of your materials, just like if the delegate is a first timer or a newbie delegate in Model ASEAN meeting? I guess there's a lot of newbie delegate. How can we at least a good delegate in our Model ASEAN meeting? That's the first questions. And the second questions is we have seen a lot of materials about Model ASEAN meeting in guidebook, in study guide, in the FMAM, also in Google, but where we can find, or how can we understand the real way to joining, and the real way to understanding, the real way to winning the Model ASEAN meeting competitions, just like what the value of this meeting, or what the value of these competitions if I can be a winner, right? So I guess all of the delegate want to be a winner. So how it can be. And the last questions, as a directors or as a head of academic divisions, I got several problem about the drafting just because very limited informations regarding to the recent issues or recent status quo in our regions, which is Southeast Asia. It's just like, how can I find the status quo and give this in our consensus, in our consultations, which is in the meeting? I guess that's 3 questions. I hope that you understand it well. If you cannot understand, please ask me. Let me know it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for the question. So for the first and second question, I think it's quite similar. So because to be a good delegate and to win this, competition as a good delegate participate. Okay, so I think we have to break it down into like, okay, first, number one, you have to know the country that you are representing. So that's the first fact. That's the first fact. You have to know the country that you are representing, and you have to think about it as just like I said, if you are representing Filipinos, even though you're an Indonesian, you have to think of yourself as a Filipino. Okay, I'm representing Filipino. You cannot relate to yourself. Oh yeah, also in my country. You don't have to say that, in Indonesia. You have to think in that way in a Filipino sense. So that's one thing. And another one is that you have to, so that also adds to the first point, to do the research well. So you, even during the meetings, you have to be live researching, like, okay, because someone might say a point that you didn't know about it, then you have to immediately search. So you have to be fast paced, and you need to make, oh, okay, so this person is saying this, but you need to immediately think about it, and do research skills. So that's the second point. And the third point is be diplomatic. At all times, you cannot add your emotions, but you have to be more diplomatic. Even if you think that this is unacceptable, you have to say this, very diplomatically, with why this cannot be accepted, why this should be added. And you have to be applying this. Okay, so first of all, you will say that, yeah, this, you will say this, like, okay, so you want to say this is no, this is not agreeable to you, but you cannot just immediately say no, don't do it, I don't agree. You don't immediately do that. Okay, so for the being a good delegate, you need to be diplomatic, and you have to say why reason. You use facts and data and numbers, why this number is why you don't agree. You cannot just say this is not agreeable because my country doesn't like it. You don't say like this, why your country is not suitable. You have to add the points. Okay, facts. Okay, in 2020, why this is like this law exists in our country, or you have to think it that way. So 3 points. And number 4 is that you have to be active. You have to be active, even though you agree on lots of things. Then you cannot just stay quietly, like, because for the first time delegates, most of us are scared, and most of us can be scared because it's a very formal, and you might think that, but the thing is that you cannot stay silent if you want to be outstanding, right? You have, even if you agree, I second the Singapore, I second the Singapore minister, what the Singapore minister said it, and why you agree. Even if you are agreeing, you can raise your hand and you can agree why the country that you are representing agree to it as well. So if you want to say no, be diplomatic. If you want to say yes, you don't just say silent and wish, okay, others are saying silent, I agree. And I said, if you are silent, it's regarded as consensus, right? So you might think that, yeah, I agree with everything, move on. So if you just go on, then you won't be you can't, the delegate cannot be very like outstanding, and you might not win it at all. So yeah, so because at the first time I did it too, because I agree, and I was just like, yeah, go on. I was like, yeah, I agree. I didn't say anything. Yeah, I agree. Because I was also scared. So that's why I don't want you guys to be repeating, like, even if you but of course you don't always say go, but you can give turns to other people. You can give turns to other people if you're talking too much, or then it might not be giving other people to speak out as well. So you can try to leverage on, like, okay, you can try to balance, like, okay, am I talking already a lot? If other countries are not speaking, then you might need to think about it as well. So the thing is, yeah, I think if you can manage those facts well, I believe that you will be able to you'll be able to, even if you don't win a prize, I'm sure that you can be a great leader in the future as well, because sometimes there might be 10 great delegates in this competition and in this meeting, but it doesn't mean that if you don't get the prize, or if you are not selected as the best delegate, it doesn't mean that you are not good enough. But of course, because there are 10 and all the people cannot be given prizes, right? So sometimes you don't get it, but it doesn't mean that. But if you can excel all this stuff, then you will become a great leader in the future as well. Yeah. So that's that. I think that answered the first and second question. And for the third question, I think you said about the information, right? Is it correct?
Yeah, it's correct, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you repeat the question? Sorry. Just shortly.
Okay, I just find some problem to choose a very recently status quo or problem which we can use in our consensus or our consultations during the meetings. Just like I put all of the information in, but it's just like no more status quo. It's just like recently I got in several source of information.
Yeah.
How can I choose it?
For the information, I think you need to look at local newspaper that are available in English as well. That's why I say the research skill is important. So if you think that information is very limited, the presented is like, very limited, then you need to head to the local news, because the local news are the most informative as well, right? So you need to head to the local. You have to find on Google. Okay, so in Myanmar, which news media agency is the most reliable one at this moment? Or in Brunei, which one is the most active, and which one? Of course, because sometimes most local can be there in the local language, and we cannot just learn a new language in a few days, right? So we need to approach to our friends, like, okay, hey, help for this, where this. That's why I say if you need any resources, resources for finding news and media resources, you can message me, you can connect me, and I might be able to link you with some of my other friends in the country as well. So the most helpful is like if you have an ASEAN friend, or like, even if that ASEAN friend is in your Facebook list or Instagram list, you can just immediately, even if you have never talked before, now you can just go message and ask. Don't be afraid to ask. That's the thing. Don't be afraid to ask during the research or during everything, because only when you ask, you will see a lot of people will be able to give you many answers, because we are not alone in this country, and we, in this region, and most of us, we are scared to be talking to new people. So don't be scared, ask a lot and try to do more research. And if not available, like, try to do your research on your own first. If not, then you ask your network, okay, do you think you have this? Or maybe you can go find from the previous previous Model ASEAN meeting alumni. Okay, how did you find this? You can go ask the alumni as well, because they have finished this already, right? So you can ask where they find the information and stuff like that. Yeah. I hope that answers your questions.
Yes, sir. It's answer all of my questions, and this is like, yes, doing well, doing our research very well, knowing our country's positions very well, and keep looking for all the recent informations. And I honored to connect with you. If you want to connect with me in LinkedIn,
Yes.
I will find your account. Thank you so much. And I give the turns to MC. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kadek. And I was actually really agree. My questions was answered. Yes, I think I just got the insight, that we have to use our own voice. We have to have our own voice, so we can outstand, not outstand them, but like we can be different from them. So we do have our own voice. We just we don't go with the flow, but like, yeah, we do have some arguments to make ourselves be seen by others, like that. So for the last questions, and I will give it the chance to delegate from Indonesia, which is Alvan. Alvan, are you connected with us?
Yes, sure. I'm connected with you.
Okay. Hello, Alvan. You may go for your questions.
Okay, I'm sorry for not turning on my camera because here is happening. Okay, I would like to ask about the agenda, right? About the postural agenda. I mean, I'm trying to understand what is different between the main agenda, like some or ministerial meeting. So actually, we have like a statement like maybe drafting in that meeting, and alongside with that, we have ACCM or ASEAN Committee meeting. So are we conducting all document for political, cultural, and stuff in ACCM as a whole document, or are we creating new document in ACCM? And since we today in this year we have RF or ASEAN Regional Forum, so what's delegate gonna do in ASEAN Regional Forum? Maybe that's all. I hope Miss Ki Yun Chaki can understand my question. Thank you.
I'm not sure, is it my connection, but the voice was not very clear. It's a little bit lagging. So can you, I'm sorry, like if the host can clear well, then you can repeat it too. My connection is a little bit lagging. So like some parts I lost it. So yeah, I think it was about documents. Sorry.
I think Alvan was asking about the difference between ministerial meeting and the summit. Is that correct, Alvan?
Okay. Is it my voice clear or is it still lagging?
Yes,
I can hear now. Yeah, I can hear really clearly now.
Okay. So basically, in ASEAN Model ASEAN meeting, there is several meeting. Like first is like, of course, is opening by head of government, and then we continue with senior official meeting and minister official meeting. And in this meeting, we're gonna create a document, right? Document, and there's 3 different document for each council. And then in the next day, we have like ASEAN Community Meeting or ACCM. My first question is, what we do in ACCM? Are we gonna create a new document? Are we gonna adapting a whole document from different council as a whole part in ACCM, and we negotiate it with another council and another delegate, or what? And also, since this year we have IRF, ASEAN Regional Forum. So what's we gonna exactly we do in ASEAN Regional Forum? Are we gonna adapting new document again, or it is just maybe a regional forum or discussion forum? So that is my question.
Okay, thank you for the question. So yeah, apart for because ASEAN has like in the model ASEAN meeting, there are several steps, right? So first of all, the senior official, okay, first of all, I said the position paper that you submitted, and it's drafted into a statement. So that statement in the 3 pillars. So the first of all, the senior official meeting discuss it, and in that senior official meeting, a lot of a lot of words, a lot of phrases. You can add more paragraphs. You can remove the paragraphs. You can do those even in the ministerial meeting as well. You can do that as well. But when you get into the next meeting, it doesn't mean that you have to start a new statement as well. You just have to continue from the statement that you agreed. Because first of all, the SOM, the ministerial, is like you discuss it in each pillar, right? Then after that, you combine the pillars. So not combine the pillars, but yeah, it's kind of like, okay, you combine the pillars. So for the AEC, then the structure also differs from each model ASEAN meeting as well. So because in the previous experiences, like if you, after these 3 pillars ministerial meetings have finished, then in the community council you combine all these, and okay, so this is AEC from other AEC, then you combine this, and you don't do a new statement, but you just use the previous statement that you discussed in the previous days, and then you edit on it. But on those meetings, usually, like, it also depends on the organizers rules, but sometimes like they don't allow to add new paragraphs anymore, but or they allow new paragraphs to be, they can remove some paragraphs, but they don't allow new paragraphs. So you can remove some sentences, you can remove the whole paragraph and things like that. But at the very last meeting, you are not allowed to remove or add new paragraph. You can just change the small wordings, and do a kind of like, sometimes we even say that's called spelling check or something like that. At the very last meeting, it's very formal. So you just go through the scan and you basically brief through it. So, but for the regional forum, I think that's the organizers can explain, because it depends on the different structures of the model ASEAN meeting as well. But we don't do new statements on every meeting. We just continue with the old statements that we discussed in the previous one, but combining with the other, maybe it might combine with the other pillars, or maybe it might combine with the other rooms. Because even for ASEAN economic, sometimes in some model ASEAN meetings, the ASEAN economic is like, they are 2 tracks, like they have 2 topics for AEC. So they have they discuss in a different 2 rooms, and then at the next day those AEC combine together again. So sometimes it's depending on the structure of the model ASEAN meeting, it depends on how it, but no new statements are formed in the later parts of the meeting. It's just basically you edit the previous ones. Yep. I hope it answers your question.
Hi, Miss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Kin, for the questions. I think the questions from Kadek or Alvan is also represent all of the delegates in here. And before we close our session today, please let me read out the conclusion about our material today. What I catch is that many people are lack of knowledge about ASEAN. That's why we have Model ASEAN meeting to improve better regional understanding and promoting cohesiveness among youths in ASEAN. Model ASEAN meeting means that we're all in here is playing diplomats. And consensus or final outcome is really important where all countries have to agree. If not, then we can't move on to the next step and the diplomacy will keep going. And also there are preparation before the meeting, such as position paper and also draft statement which soon gonna be discussed in the meeting. And there are also meeting procedure, there's speaking order and motions, amendment, etc. A pretty long one. I hope all of the participants take a note on that because Miss Kim basically summarized the entire meeting very well and very compact. And model ASEAN meeting also have the educational process such as research, debate, and many more. There are a few takeaways that you can take from Model ASEAN meeting, which is wide network, improve research and writing, better in public speaking and negotiation skills, and also in-depth knowledge about our regions, especially ASEAN, and of course, many more. And lastly, like my conference coach said, winning the awards is just a bonus. The real winners would have values and key takeaways from the meeting sessions. That was the conclusion from me as your master of ceremony on this agenda. Once again, thank you so much for our great speaker today, Ms. Kin, for sharing your knowledge with all of us. Now, let's move to the closing session. But before we move to the closing session, I would like to remind all of the delegates that we have the link you can use to prove your attendance in ASEAN preparation class to get your certificate. But also, before we close this agenda, let's take a picture together. So please, delegates, activate your camera. And for the committee, please be ready to take the picture. I will be waiting. Okay.
Okay, now can be.
Okay, thank you so much, committee. Everyone smiles. And please, committee, take the picture in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, for the slide one, on count on 3. 1, 2, 3. Slide 2, on count 4. 2, 3, 4. Slide 3, on count 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you all delegates.
Thank you so much, committee. And also thank you for your attention. And we are sorry if there is any mistake that may be not pleased in you in this session. I am committee representative saying thank you. See you at the next event. Good afternoon, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kim. Thank you so much for your attendance, for your time. Thank you so much. See you in the next event.
See you, Miss Kay. Thank you so much.
All of you stay strong.
Stay healthy. Best wishes to all of us. Thank you, all the delegates. See you in the next day, which our meeting. Prepare yourself very well. And yeah. Best wishes to all of us. Bye. Don't forget to have fun.
Every day.
Indonesia has surpassed India's daily COVID-19 cases after reporting a record high of nearly 55,000 infections today.
This pandemic already changed our behavior, our social life, and our economy. Every single aspect is affected by this COVID-19. Losing someone in something is not a new thing for us. People are trying to stand and escape from this pandemic. Wife, husband, workers, students, child, all of the people should unite to recover from this pandemic. It's like MAM UP 2021 granting connectivity as strategy on recovering from COVID-19. MAM UP 2021 proudly presents a model ASEAN meeting that included ASEAN student aspirations for a better regional organization. Wearing your mask does not mean covering your idea. Come and join us.